Hi everyone, my name is Rita Egidio and I am here again with a beautiful soul doing this amazing project named the Influential Creatrix Podcast, where I interview already more than 50 beautiful women. So I'm so happy to be talking with you. You just said to me that you are in Shanghai. Janice, do you want to present yourself and tell a little bit about you?
Sure. Okay. So I've been living in China for 5 years. I am originally from Texas. I am a licensed professional counselor. I had a brick and mortar private practice in Texas for about 5 years, 5 years ago. And I was just feeling I loved the work that I did, but I was feeling trapped and stuck. And there's a lot of different reasons for that maybe I'll go into throughout the course of this podcast, but it was just a really, I don't know, it's just really unhappy, even though I did have a beautiful life, husband, 2 kids, great job. So through a really strange turn of events, through a guy that my husband at the time used to go to, he got his master's degree with this guy. Anyway, he told us about these jobs in Shanghai at an American school here. So I decided to close my practice and we moved to Shanghai with our kids. So it's been an awesome journey for us. We're actually no longer together, but we're still good friends, my ex-husband and I. And we have 2 boys and they've loved living here. We've gotten to travel the world together. And I really just kind of came home to myself through the process of the last 5 years. And so I've decided I'm ready now to kind of regroup and reground, open. So the 1st of January this year, I opened my practice back up online. And I'm now serving women. Mostly, I have a certification in trauma. So I mostly work with women who've been through trauma in childhood. Just helping them come home to themselves, reconnect to their heart, and feel alive within who they are. Because I realized that's really what was missing for me was, I had done all the things externally to create a really nice, beautiful life, but I was still feeling dead inside. And so just that process of healing and coming home to myself and falling in love with myself and setting boundaries that needed to be set. And it was really painful, of course. Divorce is never easy. It was a hard process to go through, but for me, it's what I needed in order to really fully become me.
I'm totally in sync with you. So I was born in Portugal, raised in Africa. I was a DJ since 2008, but I had a big family. I had 5 kids from my belly, 1 extra from my heart. And but I had a very complicated relation with my husband. And we are living in France at the moment. And majority of my kids are teenagers already, 14, 15, 20, 21. I was a mom with 19, so I'm 41. And I came to Mexico. I was the only provider. So I came to Mexico to evaluate the possibility of us moving here. When I arrived to Mexico, I really felt in love for the city where I was because it's a very safe place to be. And it remembered me Africa a lot. And what I did is I did not went back because I was so drained. I was constantly drinking. I was shouting every day and the night because I could not stand my ex-husband. Probably I have responsibility on that as well, but I could not do it anymore. So I came to a journey of self-love. So I took 1 year at least from motherhood, and I'm away from my kids for 7 months. It's very tough because it goes against everything you believe as a mother. Right. But I'm in a journey of finding myself. So I found, even if you are with your kids, I found some similarities in between our stories. What is your why?
My why is I know that my calling is to be a voice for the brokenhearted, because I know what it is to be brokenhearted. I've been through a lot. I've been through a lot of trauma, childhood trauma, and then just my ex that I was married to is a gay man. And so just the whole marriage of living in turmoil and misalignment and trying to make it work and trying to please the religious community we were living in and trying to make it look anyway. It's just a long journey of brokenheartedness. And so I know that my why now is to be a voice for the brokenhearted, and to not just help ladies heal and know themselves and find themselves, but to be able to, one of my, honestly, my greatest passion is to work with other practitioners and help them understand trauma and help them understand people who are brokenhearted. I find that a lot of helpers end up doing more damage because they don't fully understand how their attempts to try to help people actually hurt people. And so my why is to create as many safe and healthy practitioners out there as I can, by being a voice to those who are brokenhearted.
Nice. What kinds of offers are you going to have? Or you have it already?
Mm-hmm. I do one-on-one. Well, for people who happen to live in the state of Texas, I can do psychotherapy. So I can diagnose and do full therapy but because of the restrictions on my license, it's only in the state of Texas. For everyone else, I do trauma coaching, which is essentially, I use the same tools. It's just that I can't diagnose. So I do one-on-one sessions. I also have a 90-day program that is like kind of a full immersion healing program. It's got coursework that goes with it. And, that is the most potent, powerful work that I do, just because it's, it kind of comes at women from all angles. They do the sessions with me, and then they have the coursework that they do throughout the week. So that's a 90-day program. And then I have a self-guided course as well that someone can take if they're just kind of interested in wanting to get started.
Nice offers. What is your superpower?
Oh, my ability to read people, not just read like how they're feeling, that I am an empath, but to know why they're feeling it. So I can, that's probably why it is why I'm such an effective therapist, because I can sit and listen to somebody's story and then get right to the heart of why they're feeling the way they're feeling and where that brokenness is coming from, and then go straight back to that instead of wasting time and all the surface level stuff that's coming up. We dive under that and get to the root, and then the other stuff tends to dissipate once you do that.
Amazing. What kind of people do you work with?
I work with all kinds of people. That's one of the beautiful things I think about living internationally, is you meet people from all different walks of life. And that honestly is one of my favorite things, is meeting and understand various cultures. I think my most powerful work is with women who are from the South in America, particularly because there's a certain oppression there from the conservative culture. Mm-hmm. Religious conservative culture that I highly understand because I grew up in it. So my most powerful work is with women who are, deconstructing is a very common term right now. They don't necessarily have to be deconstructing. They're just questioning maybe and wondering, how to find themselves and live in themselves within the context and reality of the culture that they're in.
Can you tell us the story of transformation of a client?
Sure.
Something what did happen, then you remember.
Yeah. There's a lot. I'm trying to think of let me formulate it so I don't break confidentiality.
We don't want you to do that. Just put some highlights.
So I have a client, Sarah, who she was kind of a workaholic, exhausted, overworking.
She was addicted to the hustling.
Yes, stuck in the hustle and felt like she had to prove her worth and prove. And then when motherhood became very challenging for her because she is such a doer and such a hustler, the more kids you have, the more you're trying to be perfect in every scenario that you're in. So she was still trying to do all the full-blown mom housewife duties, plus be this incredible attorney, plus be the mom, the PTA mom at school, so
Oh
she
my
was really
God. Yes.
burnout and exhausted, overwhelmed, overworked, and felt guilty and like she was a bad person and couldn't be the best at everything. So I think my most powerful work with her is helping her understand that being the other people's perception of the best is not actually
your perception of the best. You should not be your perception of the best.
Exactly. So why, you're chasing other people's perception of best, and helping her take a deep breath. And it took quite a bit of time actually for her to kind of break all of those expectations down and find what her version of best is for her and what she could let go of, and what things actually filled her and brought her joy. And then she could slowly start to step into that. But it took some time. And it did for me too, personally, just trying to, you kind of have to create space. Once you let go of, okay, I'm not going to please everybody, then it takes some time to figure out who you are, what you actually really love and want. Because, when you grow up not knowing, it takes a while to figure that out, and you have to allow space for that.
Yeah, that is exactly my situation. When I found myself alone, point one, the silence was hard, was scary.
Yeah.
And when I went shopping for the first time in Walmart, I started crying because I had no clue what me, Rita, did like or did want or buy for, because you always buy for the family, right? It's
Right.
we are moms, we always eat the ends of the foods, and
Yeah.
sometimes we hide some cookies and we say it's finished and it's not, it's just we want to have them. I don't
Yes.
know. It's such a weird thing. What?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
No, tell me what you were going to say.
I was just thinking I can really relate to that. I didn't even have my own, when my husband and I split up, I didn't even have my own avatar in Netflix or Hulu. It was just my husband and the two kids, and I just would use one of theirs. I didn't even have my own sense of identity in that way. So it was just creating all those little things that were me. And then
who are you? Because I never was a teenager. So
right.
Who are you? What makes me happy? What is my sparkle? What is,
Mm-hmm.
And
I honestly had to kind of go through a teenager phase a little bit and act out a little bit and kind of be a little crazy. But
I had some months here where I went full crazy mode. When I was drinking mezcal and vodka and things that I never did drink in my life, and nobody did understand that I was not alcoholic. I was just enjoying what I never did enjoy in my life, and going through all that and party, and then you feel guilty because you are partying because the kids are not with you. So I have been through a lot. And I'm very open about that because I want other moms to understand they don't need to go away, but they need to. So if you had a mom as me on the moment to do something crazy as not going back home, what did you advise her to do? I know it's a tough question, but do you have self-love habits?
Sure.
Then you
I do have clients, definitely, and it's different, and you kind of have to assess their financial resources, the stability of their partner, the children's other parent, and there's a lot of different factors involved. But for some women, I help them map out a 3-day retreat for themselves and what that looks like. And so for some women, it's booking a concert in another city and going and getting a hotel and kind of going crazy, but only for 3 days and coming back. For some women, that's a quiet retreat in the mountains where it's peaceful. And, it just depends on their personality and what they want, what they need. So typically I help women do that, create retreats for themselves. And we'll map out, I'll send them with journal prompts and everything so they can make the most of that time. Some women need several of those a year, and some women just need 1 or 2 a year. It just kind of depends on what the woman needs. And then for other clients, it's more, maybe they're an athlete. I have one who's an athlete. And so I encouraged her to go to the community center and find the local volleyball league and sign up and start playing volleyball with other women one night a week, arrange for the kids. So just helping women tap back into the things that used to bring them joy. For some of them, they're like, I don't like that anymore. I'm like, okay, well, let's find some other things. But for some people, they're like, oh my God, I haven't felt that part of myself since high school. And so getting to kind of reconnect back to that part of themselves. So it's messy. I call it messy. It's a really messy process of finding yourself, finding what you love, stumbling and falling down, getting back up, and just being gracious and patient with yourself. And the people who really love you and who are for you and support you are definitely willing to lean into the mess with you. And unfortunately for all of us, there's a lot of people that we find out when we start getting messy, they turn away, but they're not really our people to start with. If the only reason they're around us is because we're not messy, then you don't really need them in your life anyway.
Oh, setting boundaries is so important. Learning how to say no is probably the most tough and the most important thing. How we learn to say no, Janice?
Well, it's messy, but I would say the root of that is a fear of rejection. So you have to go back to where you first felt rejection, where you have your biggest rejection pain points in your life, and do some work around that experience and some healing.
Oh my God, you took me directly to the point where I felt rejection.
Yeah.
My mom died very early in my life when I was 10, and my father found a girlfriend very fast. And I remember specific to have a nightmare, knock on their room door, and they did not open the door. And this is in a very cold city in Portugal, where it's winter, and I felt so scared because it was like an old house. I was 10 still, or 11. I just did 11. It's December. I know it's the only place we have snow. And I was knocking on their door, and they did not open the door. And that is where I start feeling that my father was not there for me. And that keeps growing and happening in my life around my father. So I always did want to please my father. And in my perception, he was never available for me. And that made me a very easy target for abuse of other older men than me. And when that happened, I get my father say, I don't trust you. So it's like and his wife saying, then I'm a whore, and I was 12 then. So 11 to 12, it's a really tricky mindset to be. But now then you are saying that I need to go back in time and
love on that little girl. Yeah. So go back to that moment and like you're standing next to yourself at that door knocking, and hold her and hug her and tell her you're here. You're never going to leave her and abandon her. Ask for the guiding light who was there, loving, trying to comfort you in that moment. You have to reconnect that little girl bring her back home to yourself, because you had no choice but to disconnect from her at that moment. Right. So then in the future, anytime you feel that pain, or anytime you feel rejection, it touches that pain point from that little girl knocking on the door. And so we can't tolerate that. And that's why we can't set the no boundary.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I'm crying. I cry a lot in my podcasts. Because that defines so many things on your future. And it's enough. It's enough. It's nice to say no and to take care of myself and just hold myself and hold that little girl. And I have been, but this is not about me. Okay, let's change. How many clients do you want to have? What is your vision for your business?
So I'm finishing up my contract here in Shanghai, so I can't take too many more one-on-ones because I'm also managing another job. But my goal is to bring on, I could probably take 10 more one-on-ones. And then once my contract is finished here in Shanghai, I will move. And I definitely think I can serve more and more effectively by creating a group program with the 90-day program.
Mm-hmm.
So I will start doing that. And ultimately, my goal is to create a certification program for other therapists. So I'm a licensed professional counselor supervisor. So I'm already licensed to supervise other therapists who've just graduated and coming into the field. So I'm already talking with a doctor in Dallas that I would like to partner with and create a trauma certification program for therapists, so that from the get-go, and as soon as they graduate, they can begin the journey of really understanding what it is to help people and help people heal and gain freedom in their life.
That's
So
amazing. That is the big picture. How do you see, because I am an amplifier, what I do is I work with women as you, and I help them grow online. I use tapping and EFT as well, and I help them with all the backstory of their offers, of their money beliefs, and then we come with all this together. So what I do is I help on 1 month or 3 months, and I help them to achieve results. I have a guarantee that is success back guarantee. So we decide the number, whatever is money, whatever is people, we decide the number, and I work with you until you achieve your results. I want to know, how are you getting clients now, and how do you see social media?
Well, I'm developing kind of a interesting relationship with social media. That's okay. Prior to this year, I originally, when I had my brick and mortar private practice, I was immersed in the community and connected with some other therapists, and we had plenty of referrals right within the community at a full caseload with no advertising, really. So, and when you're in school, the old days when you were in school, you're trained to not be on social media at all. It was unethical to be on social media as a licensed therapist. So things are really changing now. So the landscape has shifted significantly since I've been in Shanghai. So now I'm reemerging, so I started in January with like just 200 people on Facebook that were just like my friends from high school. And so now I'm doing a lot of marketing through Facebook and Instagram. It's been a bit of a learning curve for sure, but it's growing rather quickly. I mean, most people resonate with childhood trauma because I don't know anybody who doesn't have any, and wanting some relief and freedom. And then especially all that we've been through the last 2 years with COVID, people have really been re-traumatized in a lot of ways. So everyone is kind of connecting with the topic right now. But mostly the reason I said my relationship is interesting, it's not just like a sit on the couch and scroll through anymore. It's part of my business now. And so I have to put some boundaries around when I engage in social media, because it's work hours for me now instead of just scrolling around.
Around 100%. I teach social media and I don't scroll around. I just do it. Thank you so much. Before I say bye to you, because I don't want to say bye to you, two things. One, how people can find you.
JaniceHolland.com or Janice Holland LPC on Instagram, or Janice Holland Counseling on Facebook.
Okay, perfect. Are we connected on Facebook? Are we?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so I want you to send me all your links. I'm going to send you a roadmap invitation. So it's like a call with me, 1 hour, where we can like look to your business and I can give you some tips and some ideas, then you can use it. And yeah, it's super cool. I always love to have these calls because each one of you are different and I expand my capacity and my ideas. I'm a full popcorn machine of ideas and they need to go somewhere. So
I love it. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to send you that to you. And if you had a message for yourself 5 years ago, what was?
Oh, that's a tough one.
You prefer more like 20 years ago?
No, 5 years is perfect because that's when I moved to Shanghai and I'm a totally different person. you can do hard things.
Mm.
There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's better than you ever imagined it would be.
Nice, beautiful.
Yeah.
I hope you feel what I felt when you said that. It's
Yeah.
very touching. My love, was so nice to meet you.
You too.
I'm going to continue the conversation with you. I'm just saying bye to the people listening to us and watching us. I love you guys. Please love, subscribe, comment, all that things.